The river had always been a quiet place. It wound lazily through town, its banks lined with old willows that dipped their branches into the water like tired fingers. But tonight, the river was anything but quiet. Ethan had never intended to be out this late. His shift at the diner had run over, and his usual shortcut home, a narrow footbridge over the river, was slick with rain. He hesitated at the edge, the wooden planks shining under the dim glow of a nearby street lamp. The storm had been raging for hours, and the wind howled through the trees like something alive. He took a step forward. Then another. The planks shifted under his weight, and before he could react, his foot slid on the rain-slick wood. His body pitched sideways. A flash of panic. His arms flailed, grasping at empty air, then the icy shock of the river swallowing him whole. The current was stronger than he had expected. The cold punched the air from his lungs as the river yanked him downstream, spinning him like a discarded leaf. He clawed at the surface, coughing, gasping, but the water was relentless, pulling him under again. His limbs grew heavier. Dark spots danced in his vision. This is it, he thought. Then something latched onto his shirt. A sharp tug, another. His head broke the surface and he sucked in a ragged breath. There was something next to him, something moving, paddling furiously. A dog. A scruffy, mud-colored mutt, its fur plastered to its thin frame by the rain. Its teeth clamped onto his sleeve, dragging him toward the riverbank with a strength that seemed impossible for such a small animal. Ethan barely had the energy to kick. The dog did most of the work, pulling, fighting against the current, inch by inch. His hands scraped against something solid, mud, roots, the bank. Somehow, he managed to haul himself halfway out of the water, his body trembling violently. The dog let go and shook itself, sending a spray of cold droplets into the night air. It stood there, panting, eyes locked on him, waiting. Ethan coughed hard, his lungs burning. He turned to the dog. You saved me?" His voice was hoarse, barely audible over the wind. The dog just wagged its tail once. A siren wailed in the distance. Someone must have heard the commotion, maybe the bridge collapsing, maybe his splashing. He didn't know. But as flashing red lights pierced the rain, the dog took a step back. "Wait," Ethan reached out, but the mutt had already turned, slipping into the shadows between the trees. The paramedics found him moments later, shivering and soaked, barely able to speak. They asked him how he had made it to shore. He told them the truth. No one believed him. But every night after that, when he walked home past the river, he left a scrap of food by the footbridge. And sometimes, just sometimes, he'd spot a pair of bright eyes watching him from the darkness.